Greetings everyone, Matthew Stater here with the Ecumenical Order of Christ. Today I want to talk to you about an interesting development which was recently reported on Israel365news.com. The article begins by quoting Zechariah chapter 12 verse 3. "And in that day I will make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it." The article then goes on to speak of Hezbollah having constructed 15 outposts along the Israel-Lebanon border. Senior representatives of the Israeli Defense Force are presenting this construction as a clear statement of intent by Hezbollah. The representative went on to state that the problem with facilities such as these is that the Lebanese army and United Nations forces no longer patrol these areas. Some Hezbollah operatives have also been seen in the vicinity of these bases carrying firearms, which is in violation of a UN resolution which is intended to prevent any armed force, except for the Lebanese army, from being near the border. Whilst the article is clearly in favour of viewpoints of both Israel and the United Nations, discernment would dictate that it would be wise to also take into account that Hezbollah, at least in assessing the actions reported in this article, likely Hezbollah itself does not trust the UN nor Lebanon's own army to defend this border against what it undoubtedly sees the IDF as being a hostile force intent on claiming as much surrounding territory as possible for itself. A likely concern on Israel's part is also to be found in Jeremiah chapter 6 verses 1 and 2, which can be likely taken as a warning of an attack on Israel from the direction of Lebanon itself, an attack which the historical ally of Israel, the United States, would be prevented from intervening in, depending on how those verses are interpreted. All of this leads to one important point. The Mashiach is here and has already nullified the birthright of Israel's divine protection and inheritance as a result of the rabbis breaking the covenant with God by refusing to acknowledge the Mashiach, Lord Rael. Lord Rael has also warned Israel of having surrounded their nation with the armies of its enemies, a point that Israel is already keenly aware of. They would appear to stand confident that the combined forces of their troops and their Iron Dome system will be sufficient to hold back any opposing force. But the prophecy of Armageddon found in the book of Revelation would indicate otherwise. The world will soon learn that neither the will of God nor the will of the Mashiach can be opposed or ignored.